Simone Michelle, your DIY girl, host of a new mini DIY series called DIY with Loop, presented by Loop Jamaica in partnership with H&L Rapid True Value. I'm going to share with you a few projects that you can do in and around the home in preparation for Labor Day, starting with 2 easy upgrades to my kitchen, including this spice rack and some upgrades I did to my cabinets. So this is my spice rack situation. This was supposed to be a temporary fix, but of course with very many projects it ends up being something that became quite permanent. I'm going to start out by measuring the spaces I have for my spice rack. This is our tiered spice rack that I will be making. Now I'm going to cut 7 strips of ply, which are about 1.5 inches wide, into pieces that are 15 inches long. So here I'm just measuring and marking a few pieces, and then I'm going to get it ready to cut on my miter saw. Now that we have all 7 pieces cut, we're going to use this holdfast glue, which by the way is made in Jamaica, available at H&L Rapid True Value. We're going to apply the glue to the sides of 3 pieces of the strips of ply that we just cut. Applying the glue quite generously and spreading it with my finger in order for it to go all over the surface of the side of the strip. From here, we're going to stick the glued side to the center of one of the other strips of wood to create a T shape. This will create the first tier of our spice rack. And then we're going to repeat that process for the remaining pieces. Once it's a little dry, we're going to wipe off the excess glue with some scrap paper. Now I'm going to secure my T's with a brad nailer. You can also use a drill and wood screws for this part. Now this is where the spice rack comes together. We're going to glue each T to the base of the T that goes behind it. And then we're going to secure each tier using the brad nailer. And then we're going to repeat that process for the final tier. Securing that piece as well. Remember, if you don't have a brad nailer, drill a pilot hole first and then use wood screws to secure each tier. Now you can get an idea of what the spice rack is going to look like. We're going to use the final piece of ply that we've cut as a support for the entire spice rack. Applying a very generous amount of glue to the side of the ply, we're going to attach that final piece to the underside of our spice rack. And finally, securing that piece with a pilot hole and wood screws. And there you have it, our spice rack is fully constructed. Then we're going to give it a light sand with some 240 grit sandpaper, getting in the crevices and especially the edges. Then giving it a light dust with a paintbrush. And there you have it, our easy peasy spice rack is done and ready to go. To be honest, I should have definitely done this sooner. A complete transformation and upgrade to my cabinets. And we're on to the next DIY. I absolutely love my French cabinets. No matter how I try to keep these cabinets organized, the clear glass will simply not let me be great. So I'm going to give them an upgrade and transform this kitchen from clear glass chaos to elegant frosted French cabinets. We're going to start out by gathering all our tools. We need some scrap paper, a tape measure, tape, marker, scissors, vinyl, and a ruler. The next step is to measure each window pane, the width and the length. Then using the measurements I just got, I'm going to make a template using my scrap paper and then cutting it to size. Because the top panels have an irregular shape, I'm going to place the paper directly against the cabinet door and draw it out using a marker. Then I'm just checking to make sure the template fits each of my panels. Now I'm just going to clean each panel with a wet cloth and a dry cloth. This part of the process is very important for the vinyl to adhere properly to each panel of glass. We're almost at the fun part. Using our template, we're going to cut out each of the bottom and middle panels of vinyl. Because the vinyl has a graph-like backing, it made it very easy for me to measure out and cut out each piece of vinyl needed for the panels. I need 20 pieces for the bottom and middle panels and 10 pieces for the top panels, 5 left and 5 right. Now here's the fun part. To start, we're going to line up the vinyl with the top sides and corners of each panel, carefully applying about an inch of vinyl to the glass. Once we have it lined up, we're going to use something like a card or any flat surface to get the air bubbles out as we apply the vinyl to the glass. The aim is to remove about an inch of vinyl at a time, working your way down slowly, inch by inch, to avoid as much air bubbles as possible. Now it's a little inevitable that you may have 1 or 2 air bubbles here and there, but I will show you how to get that out after. Slowly but surely, before you know it, the entire panel is covered in vinyl. You can already see the difference that the vinyl is making. No, look at the difference. I mean, clear glass versus frosted glass, a complete transformation. Now we repeat that on all the other panels. Here, I'm just using a needle to poke a hole in each air bubble. From there, I'm going to use my card to run over that surface to remove the air pocket. Seeing the difference above and below on the panels made me realize that I should have done this a long time ago. And now to repeat that process on the 20 plus remaining panels. This project was fairly simple, it just took a lot of time and patience, but I really got the hang of it and had way less air bubbles as I went along. Honestly, this is a transformation if I've ever seen one. Cabinets are elevated, the kitchen is brighter, the light is bouncing off the doors, all while maintaining the elegance and classic style of French cabinet doors. Join me for the next episode of DIY with Loop, where I upcycle an old dresser into a coffee bar. See you next time on DIY with Loop.